We're so glad to be here tonight, and thank you for joining us. We're the Cooking Family, and we're going live tonight for the first time in over a year. Last time we were here, our baby was still in my belly, and then it's just been a crazy and busy year, huh?
Yes, it has.
But we're so glad to be here with you. We're going to make an awesome soup recipe, but first we wanted to introduce you to Esther. This is Esther Susan, and she just had her first birthday about a week ago.
Yes.
And she's getting her third tooth. She's got a new top tooth, and she's doing great. Crawls all over the place.
You can barely keep track of her. She's like here 1 minute and there the next, and we're like, where is she?
Yes. But we have to keep a good eye on her as she crawls and climbs and does all the things. So anyway, that's what we've been doing in the house. And then we've been making a lot of cheese this year. We had a great garden harvest in the summer, and now we're planting our seeds and the things that we're going to plant for this summer. And do you want to tell them about Cookie?
Oh, yes. So we have 2 dairy cows, Cookie and Ginger. Ginger is Cookie's baby girl. So we are trying to get gingerbread, so that she can have a baby soon. And Cookie is now pregnant, and she will give birth, hopefully, beginning of July.
Yes.
And we have a beef steer that we are raising for beef that he's going to be on our table.
His name
September.
is Sirloin.
Yes.
So it's been fun around here. We love the cows. We've truly enjoyed learning how to make lots of cheese and different things with our milk. And I'm going to pass Esther off so she can go crawl around the house and maybe eat a little snack. And we're going to show you how to make cheesy sausage potato soup. The kids love this soup. Every time we make it, there are like cheers. So, and they really like to eat, but they don't always cheer. So,
I don't know about that.
Okay, so the ingredients in this soup are pretty simple, which is one of the things that I love about it. It goes together really quickly. We use chicken broth, and we heat that up in the Instant Pot, and onions, potatoes, carrots, smoked sausage, chicken, and then we used to use Velveeta in this recipe. And actually, as we've grown, we're trying to, we have a cow, we drink raw milk, and we're trying to just eliminate processed foods one by one. And Velveeta is one of those guilty pleasures that I still kind of love.
But we've made our own, and we also like it. So we're going to try to go to making our own instead of buying stuff.
Yes, wean ourselves off, because if you read this list of ingredients, it's like, oh, I don't want to eat that. So we have come up with a way of making this soup without Velveeta, and it still tastes cheesy and good. And we use, because it's not quite, we're not ready to always make our own Velveeta out of our cow's milk,
right? Although it was delicious.
We use cream cheese, and we use 2 blocks of cream cheese, or if you're going to stick with Velveeta, which is fine, use 1 pound. And I'll show you when to put that in at the end of pressure cooking. Don't put your dairy in until the very end. But if you're using cream cheese to give it more of a cheesy flavor, you're going to use a little ground mustard and paprika, and we'll show you exactly how we do that at the end. So Abigail's going to start by, I'm going to start by putting the chicken broth in the pot and letting it start to heat up while we chop the other ingredients, and then that will speed up the pressure cooking, because it'll go to pressure pretty quickly once everything is nice and hot. And if you haven't made chicken broth in your Instant Pot, you should try it, because it's fabulous, it's easy, and it's nearly free. Really saves on your budget.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Show us how to chop that
So
onion.
I'm going to dice a white onion, and first remember your cut glove. So first, there's 2 sides to an onion. There's a stem end and a root end. You can either pull these off or cut it off. I prefer to pull it off. And you're going to cut the stem end off so that you have a flat surface and it's not wobbling. Then you will cut it in half. Down the center.
Down the center, yes. So that the root end holds everything together.
Yes. Then you're going to peel off this papery skin. And if it's a bad layer, which this is beautiful, but if there's a bad layer, you can just go ahead and peel that off. Next, you're going to go in slices like rays of the sun.
Toward the center of the onion.
And try to make them as even as possible. And then after you finish that, you're going to go the other direction, dicing back also again towards the roots. All the way back as far as you can go. And then just throw the root away.
Yeah, we put the onion skins and the roots in our broth bag. So we use chicken bones and the cuttings and pieces from veggies to make our chicken broth. Like I said, it's almost free. Oh, and I was going to turn on the Instant Pot. This one is a ProCrisp 8-quart. This recipe will fit in a 6-quart Instant Pot, but I just wanted to show you in the 8-quart because the ProCrisp gets hot really quick and comes up to pressure really quick, which is what we love about it. So you're going to select pressure cook, and you could do saute, but we're going to go ahead and just select pressure cook, and it'll start heating up, and then we'll put the lid on in a little bit. And I want it to pressure cook for, is this saying hours? Okay, right. We do not want it to pressure cook for hours. So I'm just turning it way down. I think Miriam did broth in it for a long time earlier. So we're turning it all the way down because we only want to cook this soup under pressure for 5 minutes. Now, I'm going to ask, this is the only way to turn this up and down, right? There's not a quicker way to get to 0. Okay, and I'm going to press start. In other pressure cookers, you're going to choose manual or pressure cook, whatever the selection is to get you pressure cooking. On some of them, there's a soup button, and we enjoy using that on our other pressure cookers.
Here's the onion.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to go ahead and put the onion in so it can start cooking. That is great. In 5 minutes under pressure, we'll get that onion cooked through all the way. Really nice because she's got it in little small dices. And I'm going to grab my knife, and we're going to cut the carrots first. We like the carrots to be in kind of bite-sized pieces, so I'm just going to cut the ends, the bad ends off. These are really big carrots. We're using 1.5 pounds of carrots. So this makes a good size pot of soup. And we washed these carrots, we scrubbed them, but we're just going to leave the peel on. It's just a family meal at home, and that's a shortcut. It's okay to eat the peel. If your family is really grossed out by the peel, then you can take the time to go ahead and peel it off. But my family, they've just learned to eat it, I guess. Okay, so when we get to the big part of the carrots, like these are really huge, then I'm going to go down the middle and just cut this whole carrot in half so those pieces won't be quite as big. And this one is so big, I'm going to cut it in quarters. But I'm not cutting it all the way through. I'm just going to leave the stem intact so that doesn't go crazy on me.
Just like with the onion.
Just like with the onion, it just is like having a third hand when you're cooking in the kitchen. And this one, these are just ginormous carrots.
They are.
You could also use baby carrots in this if you just want a shortcut. We have found that the whole carrots just have a lot more great carrot flavor, but you exchange an extra step of having to chop them up. So if you want the convenience, go ahead and do the baby carrots. Or they even have those pre-chopped veggies in the deli sometimes at the store. So you can totally use those. And then again, we save the carrot ends for our broth bag, and we just keep those in the freezer. And that's all ready to go for when we make broth. It takes about 3 minutes to put on a pot of broth, right?
Yes.
Who does the most broth right now?
Elijah or Miriam?
Probably Elijah and Miriam. So Elijah is 13 and Miriam is 11, and they really enjoy cooking. But it's such, during the broth, we just have it kind of, as soon as we run out of broth, we just make another pot.
Yep.
Okay,
usually
in go the carrots.
Chop enough so that we have no shortage of vegetables ever.
Right. We have enough onions and things that we always have those scraps in the freezer ready for broth. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to cut, I'm going to cut the potatoes.
Yes.
Potato soup just makes such a hearty, delicious winter meal. Fills up your tummy and makes you feel just really satisfied. Okay, so I'm going to cut the potatoes. I'm going to first cut them straight down the middle, and then I'm just going to turn them a quarter so they're standing up, and now I'm going to cut crosswise. My fingers are in an angle, and then I'm going to cut it. We want these to be about bite size, so I'm going to cut a couple more cuts, and then we have nice little chops. These are golden potatoes, I think they're called, and you can use any kind of potato that you have on hand. It doesn't have to be golden. We really like the golden ones, and we like the red, but russets will also work, whatever you like and whatever you have on hand. Okay, Miriam was going to help us with the smoked sausage. So while I keep on cutting the potatoes, Miriam's going to show you the smoked sausage. We love smoked sausage in our house, don't we?
Yes. So Miriam is we just have this one link of sausage. My mom calls it a horseshoe sausage. And we're just going to cut it down the middle that way, how she's doing it. And then next we will cut it down the middle, yes, again.
Okay, so Miriam's using her fingers like an arch to go down in between between her fingers and still hold on to the food. And I started cutting the sausage like this instead of, I used to do the discs and cut the sausage into round pieces, but then I was worried about little kids, my little babies choking, and it just made mealtime more stressful for me as a mom. So I started cutting them in quarters like this, and then it makes bite-sized pieces, and then we really, so I loved it because it was no longer worrying me like a choking hazard. But then also we found out that we got more bites of sausage because it was spread out more. So we have just kept on chopping it this way, and it makes it easy and yummy to chop it up this way instead of doing the coin-shaped discs. But you could cut your smoked sausage any way you like. We've even had this with like just leaving a 2-inch link of smoked sausage in the soup, and you cut it up in your bowl. So you can make it as finely chopped or as big chopped as you like. And I'm gonna just finish cutting these potatoes here. We use smoked sausage in a lot of things. It's a great, very meat that's really full of flavor. And also another thing that I really like about it is I like to keep it on hand because it's meat that's quick. It's already fully cooked. And so if you need a quick choice for dinner instead of running to a drive-through, which is expensive and not that quick often, just smoked sausage is really fast and it's already fully cooked and makes a great meal. Just whatever you want to do with it. What else do we do with smoked sausage?
Sometimes when we have a road trip, we will cut it into the links also.
Yes.
With cheese and crackers. And it's a very snacky and easy portable lunch.
Yes.
If you're going on a adventure.
Or even if we go to town, we call it Big Town. We live further out in the country, and so if we go to appointments or anything, it's about an hour, and so we'll even take that as a lunch rather than stopping at the drive-thru.
Right. And
it's yummy. Learned that from my parents. Okay, so Miriam's got her smoked sausage ready to go in, and so we'll just pick this up. Do you want to put it in, Miriam? Okay, watch that it doesn't splash you. Okay, and then we have Hannah and Lydia coming in just a second. And they're going to show how we pick a rotisserie chicken. Okay, so you can come right on over. Okay, so we love to get these rotisserie chickens from the Sam's or the Costco, even Walmart. I think Target has them. And they're a really great, they're actually even a budget item because they're inexpensive. This is a $5 for 3 pounds for a 3-pound chicken. And we bring these home and we just pick them apart. And actually, Miriam, would you hand me the gloves? So sometimes they're really hot and we wait till they cool off a little bit, but also the salt on them can burn your fingers.
And usually on the drive home, they get cooled off since
yes,
my dad
that's
works
right.
an hour away.
Yes. Do you need one, Hannah? But we love to get these and we'll just have a chicken picking party where
we'll get like 6 at a time, and all the older kids will go and pick all of them together.
And then we freeze them because usually Daddy gets home
9
late after he goes shopping and the girls are in bed. But then we chop up the meat and we freeze it and have it ready also for quick meals. It just makes life so much easier. So we don't necessarily cook things far in advance. But we'll have a Ziploc bag of chicken already in the freezer ready to go, and then that just cooks up super quick because you've got your meat already done, so it allows you to have a really quick meal. Okay, so we need to go ahead and pick this. So do you want to pull some off? Okay, there you go. We're just going to get our hands in here. It's going to be a little crowded. Sorry, girls. But even little ones can help with this job. This chicken is completely cooled off, and the pieces come right off, and then you can just break them up small. And we're going to put about 2.5 cups of this into our soup. So as soon as we get about 2.5 cups of bite-sized pieces, we can put them in our soup. Okay, girls?
Okay.
Do you need help pulling that off?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm breaking it apart. Here, you want to work on this one? Just break that apart. So little ones don't even have to have a knife to do this. And if you find you still have big pieces, you can go back in afterwards and either break them up, pull them apart, shred them, or cut them up with a knife if you want. But it makes great, easy shredded meat for any type of casserole, soup. We sometimes put this on salads. You can make chicken salad, tacos. There are just tons and tons of things you can do with cooked diced chicken. Is a treasure to have in the freezer.
Yes.
A freezer treasure.
Oh, we also got turkeys in June to have for Thanksgiving, and we butchered them ourselves on the farm, so that was a really cool experience. We did one for Thanksgiving, and we just did the other two, like 2 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
Very recent. So, they were fun.
My dad came to visit for Thanksgiving, and so he helped us with that, and we made great memories together with Grandpa.
Yes.
And if you're watching, hi, Dad. My dad really taught me how to cook a lot. My mom and my dad both cooked, but my mom was more of a recipe follower and a baker. She almost always had some kind of homemade goodie around, cobbler, cookies. But my dad would get home on the weekends. He worked during the week as a trucker. He's still a trucker. And he would, when he was going to cook a meal, he would start by chopping up an onion, and he would go down to the basement where that was basically our pantry, was down in the basement. And he would just bring up like an armload of canned goods, diced tomatoes, beans, and he would bring that upstairs, mix it with the onion and whatever meat we had, and just make magic, because it was always delicious. And he just had such a creative, he still does. He's really creative in the kitchen, and no recipe needed. Just mix it together, and it usually was fantastic. Girls, you're doing amazing. Okay, and I think that this is plenty to go in our soup. So this has a little smoked sausage and some chicken and potatoes, onions, and carrots. And that is all we're putting in for now. And I'm going to go ahead and close the lid and let it come up to pressure. But we did another batch earlier. I should give it a little stir. And notice that this is all bubbly and it's getting really hot. And that's just basically like preheating it while you get your other work done. So now it's going to come up to pressure pretty fast because it's almost already boiling. So one of our ways that we like to use the Instant Pot is I had to memorize a checklist so I could not forget all the steps. So you always want to use liquid. So our steps are liquid, lid, valve, program, pressure, time, and then pause or start. So we put liquid in, I check the lid, the valve is closed. This one has an automatically closing valve, but you do want to just double check and make sure it's on seal. And then the program we're using is the pressure cook program, pressure, time, pause. So we want it to be on high pressure, and then we want to press start. And I already did press start a little bit earlier, so it's been preheating for us. And now I'll show you how we make the cheese sauce. So we've got 2 blocks of cream cheese. That's 8 ounces. Nope, 16 ounces.
Yes.
Each block is 8 ounces. We want 16 ounces total. And this is the alternate to using Velveeta. If you prefer using Velveeta, you'll skip this step. But this is a way we just use a little bit more close to a whole food ingredient. There are just a lot fewer ingredients in the cream cheese. This is the pot we did earlier. And so I'm going to go ahead and release the pressure. And you can You can quick release this right after it's finished cooking, but if you do, you're going to want to keep a sharp eye on it, because the sooner you release the pressure, the more likely you are to have a volcano of liquid coming out. So it'd be ideal if you wait about 5 or 10 minutes and let the pressure naturally come down as the pot cools off. And if you are in a big hurry, then you can stay close by it and close the valve carefully if it starts putting liquid out the top. Also, never put your hand over the vent. Always keep your hand to the side of the vent, or you can even use like a wooden spoon to open and close it. So I'm going to go ahead and close it, or open it to venting, and make sure it's not going on the the cabinet. Just had a little bit of pressure left, and that was after 34 minutes of naturally releasing. Yes. The Pro Crisp does release pressure faster somehow. I don't know how that technology works, but it always seems to be much quicker at releasing pressure.
And coming up to pressure. It's like 10 minutes, whereas those are like 20, and the 8-quart is like 30. It's like
not fully.
Not that long.
I guess if you have a big pot of cold liquid,
and it's been 30.
Okay.
And it's taken forever.
Got it. So what we're going to do is get some broth out of our Instant Pot. If you just put cream cheese in, you can do that. We have just put cream cheese in and just stir, but it has kind of some little tiny, they're not even curdles, but it doesn't get completely smooth. Little grains of cream cheese left. So we like to get out a little of the hot broth and put it in our heat-proof bowl, and then use the immersion blender to blend it all up with our ground mustard and paprika. The mustard gives a little bit of a sharp flavor to the cream cheese to kind of make it taste like cheddar, and then the paprika just gives it a little extra color to make it look more cheesy and less white, because the Velveeta is nice and orange. And if you're just using Velveeta, you'll skip this step and you'll just chop up your Velveeta like during this time and put it in after you release the pressure and open the lid, and the Velveeta will melt smoothly. So you can choose the convenient easy cheese, which we love and use often, or the a little bit more extra effort to get those more real food ingredients.
Yes.
And I just heard the pin drop, so gonna open it up, and that pot is nice and full. That's why it took so long to release. If you're using a 6-quart, you may want to use a little bit less than 8 cups of liquid. Okay, and I got 1 piece of sausage I'm going to fish out. So you just want enough liquid in here to melt your cream cheese. And I'm going to take my cream cheese and just spoon it in to the hot liquid. And do you want to get the measuring? Oh, you already have the measuring spoons. So we are going to do a teaspoon of ground mustard and a half a teaspoon of paprika and a teaspoon of salt. So our broth that we make in our Instant Pot, we don't add any salt until we're actually cooking with it, because you never know if you're going to use, like if you use Velveeta, you're not going to need to add any salt. But since we're using cream cheese, we do need to add salt.
So you said 1 teaspoon of mustard, half a teaspoon of paprika, and 1 teaspoon of salt?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm finished with this plate. Okay. Now this is getting really full, so I'm thinking I should switch to a larger bowl.
Probably.
I'm going to grab a bowl down here.
And I'm going to grab the salt. This scoop is 1/4 of a teaspoon, so I will just sprinkle 4 of these on. and 4.
Awesome. Okay. I just don't want any burning to happen.
And splashing.
Or splashing. No splatters. So I love this immersion blender because the trigger is kind of gets softer and harder. Like you pull harder and it goes faster. Thank you. There we go. So I'm just going to start slowly, just blending this up. I tend to not be a huge gadget person. I like to keep it simple in the kitchen. So I kind of resisted and didn't think I would need an immersion blender for a long time until I finally got one, and I love it. And we use it all the time. You want to leave your cream cheese out while your soup is cooking so that it can warm up to room temperature and be not super cold. You can even microwave it.
Like 6 power level 6.
Well, actually, I've put it in on high for 30 seconds and it's melted. Not completely melted,
but soft enough to
stir.
Spread on bread or something.
Right. Yeah, the kids love cream cheese and jam sandwiches.
And cream cheese frosting. And sometimes since we make our own cream cheese sometimes, we take some and have it on our sourdough bread that we also make for breakfast, and it's also very yummy.
It's yummy. I did hear recently that there was a shortage on cream cheese right now in some stores. We found this at Sam's Club. Hopefully you'll be able to find it at your store. Okay, so you want to blend it until it's nice and smooth and it doesn't have any little pieces in it. And this is good. We don't want it to end up frothy, so we're just going to stop there. And then as a mom, I'm always reminding the kids to rinse it off right away because this is not fun to clean if you let it dry. Thank you, Abigail. Okay, and now I'm just going to pour this in and stir it back into the soup.
Do you need to move it forward?
Yeah, let's do that. So it's a really hot pot of soup, so you want to be really careful when you're moving it. So this is what it looks like before you add your cheese and your cream, and honestly, this would be delicious just eating it just like this. But since you want to kick it up another notch and make it nice and cheesy, just want to stir this in. And there it goes. It smells so good. The smoked sausage is nice and smoky smelling. It adds so much flavor. And the carrots in there add some great color and nutrition. And the potatoes, of course, are just yummy comfort food.
They're creamy.
Creamy, yummy potatoes. Okay, and Miriam, would you mind grabbing a little bowl?
Do you have our ladle?
And a ladle. Okay, I'm going to set this down. Okay.
The ladle's in there.
Thank you. Okay, we got a new huge ladle at the restaurant store. And a whole bunch of things just fell out. This is a 1-cup ladle, so it makes serving twice as fast as our half-a-cup ladle. Our family loves eating soup, so we just enjoy it so much, right?
Yes.
Always love. Okay, it's going to be very hot. So do we have spoons?
I was just about to ask them.
Just about to ask for a spoon. Everything that comes out of the Instant Pot is always extremely hot. So you never want to hurry to taste it. You always want to let it cool off.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to taste your food.
That's right. So this one, just so you can tell how much time has passed, this just finished cooking, pressure cooking. So we're going to let it naturally release for a little while. And Elijah's looking for some spoons. We got a little ice cube so we don't burn ourselves. Here we go. Yum. And actually we forgot to put the chicken in this batch. So it's it doesn't have as much meat. Okay, let's see. Ready? Mmm.
That is so
It's
good.
always so delicious.
Yes.
So yummy. Always taste your food right before you serve it so that you can make sure it doesn't need salt, and add salt, adjust it however you want. This is actually really
Perfect,
great.
yeah.
Perfect. And we hope that you'll go check our website for this recipe and lots of other recipes. This one's called Cheesy Sausage and Potato Soup.
Yes.
And we want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. You can find a lot of our videos on YouTube, and we would love for you to go ahead and subscribe there. And follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. We post some fun farm things on there and what we're cooking. What else? We're just so glad you joined us tonight. And we hope that you will cook and enjoy a great meal together with your family. See you next time.
Bye.